Hey everyone, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to evercrisis. I want to be giving you wish list advice when you are new to the game, old to the game, just anything you're trying to build a character. This video is kind of give you the insight of like what you should be aiming for if you want to have like the strongest units, the best utility, the best way to beat any kind of content that comes your way, especially as a free-to-play or anyone who spends on the game from the passes to complete whales. This should help you guys decide what you should be going for as you try to go for those certain characters, just building up the best team comp as well. I'm going to give you so much advice in this from me playing from day one till now as a free-to-play, watching whales complete content, and so on and so on. So let's jump in and talk about what you guys should be aiming for, especially if you're brand new to the game. So we're going to focus on banners that are brand new. If you are new to the game or you're a player who's just pulling for any character, the banner that's currently out is a banner you want to work on, especially for your wish list, right? Whatever is here is going to be your strongest. One thing I want to clear out before we do this, open up your settings on the top right, click on the settings button, scroll down to battle, and turn buff and debuff icon details on. And this is going to be more important as I talk about the wish list, because there's going to be buffs that say low, medium, high. 3 tiers of buffing and debuffing this game is not visible on the enemy unless you turn this on. So when that's on and you put a defense down on an enemy, you'll see 1 triangle down, 2 upside down triangle, an arrow basically pointing downwards. And that's going to tell you 1 tier, 2 tier, or 3 tier debuff or buff on your character. That being said, I am going to talk about the current banner or banner that comes out, Arcanum DPS, how to build that character to its maximum. But I want to talk about utility first. This is priority because there's going to be so many situations where you're not going to be able to pass the content because you're getting one-shotted, the enemy has too much attack, you're just not living through things because your healers aren't properly built. Let's talk about that first. Start off with Barret. Barret is the only character in the game that was able to raise physical defense up. Matt now currently has that as well, but this was my go-to for a lot of quests. Remember, low, medium, high, that setting I told you about. Medium is 2 tiers, high is maximum 3 tiers in the game. This is an AoE defense up. Only 1 copy is necessary, but having 6 copies or 7, OB6, will give you 1 cast high for 4 ATB. That was currently the only one, but now Matt also has the Centipede, which heals and raises your defense from medium to high at the OB6, or I believe it's max, but it costs 5 ATB to do this. But either way, these are fantastic weapons to have because you can't DPS if you're dead. Focus on some utility first. Once you get 1 copy of that or the Centipede, you're really good for a lot of the quests. Another option when it comes to healers, because Barret can use his micro laser to heal. So combination would be getting assault gun and micro laser, and now you have a healer that can heal and raise your physical defense. Or you can do Matt, which has magic AoE defense up, plus Centipede, which is physical defense up, and he also has prime number, right? So these are the choices for your healers. Has AoE cast of healing, and it comes with our abilities of healing to help with that as well. So Matt or Barret, I would prioritize on Matt more for healing. Now that he has Centipede out, you can run prime number plus that one when you're facing physical enemies. If you're facing magical enemies, you run prime number and you run his core defender to raise magic defense, and you'll be covered. But having your DPS do that as well is another thing, and I'll talk about that with these two here. But back to the healer / utility. Barret defense up, healing. Matt defense up of magic and physical plus healing. Or Aerith has her Fairy Tale for your healing weapon, which is this one right here. Fairy Tale is an AoE heal. And then you could also run her Mithril Rod, but this is a little trickier for Aerith because you need 7 copies of this weapon to OB6 it. At OB6, you get physical defense, all of your allies, medium, and magic defense all in 1 cast, but again for 5 ATB. But it raises both physical and magical, meaning that if you work on Aerith for your healer / utility, or just having this on a DPS Aerith to raise your defense up, it works. It just costs 1 ATB more, but it is another option. Now, if your healer is spending all the time healing, having a character to raise their magic defense that's not a healer allows all the ATB to go towards healing, and then your DPS can take 1 turn to raise magic defense, which is Cloud's Bandage Sword, or you have Red 13's magic defense, Sleek Collar, AoE, both of them mid to high tier. These are all great options just to have one copy. You don't have to wishlist to OB6 it. Just grab one copy, but don't grab every single one because you don't know what character you're building or you're going to use in your team. Whatever you choose between Aerith healing with Fairy Tale, her Mithril Rod, Barrett healing with Micro Laser and use an Assault Gun to raise physical defense, or Matt healing with 3 different weapons. He also has Bramble Spine here that physical attack is increased on top of it, but you can use Prime Number with his Core Defender or his new Centipede. That is what you're looking at when it comes to protecting your team, as in buffs. Buffing yourself and healing, because the enemy can't stop you from buffing besides lowering your defense, but an enemy can be immune to attack down, magic attack, or physical because that's part of their kit. And no matter if you have the weapon or not, you can't lower it, but you can always heal yourself and you can always raise your defense or your attack. So buffing in this game is very powerful. These are great weapons to think about. If you are going to be new to the game, focus on your healer. Who's your healer? Barrett, Matt, or Aerith, right? And then back at DPS to raise that magic defense is not bad either. I just haven't done it in all the content that isn't unlimited, like Bahamut and Ifrit. They're always there. Don't pull just to beat those quests, pull to beat everything that's limited because you can always get back there when you're stronger. So that's the utility part. Those are your healers. Cloud can also be a healer if you want to run Bandage Sword, and you can run, this Crystal Sword is a magic heal AoE at 50% for one copy. Where like Erebus Fairy Tale at one copy is 53%. So it's not that far off. Cloud is a very good healer. Air's a very good healer. Barrett's a good healer, but not as strong healing as the other ones. Matt's a strong healer because he has that Cure All plus Prime Number. And then that is one of your straight up healers. And then Red 13, with having magic defense up, also has Plaque Collar, which is regen healing. This does work in a lot of case scenarios when it comes to enemies that do attack after attack after attack. That's most likely going to one-shot you. You want to have that big heals from like Aerith, Matt, the Prime Number, that does bigger percentage. But regen is very powerful as a healing, especially when you mix this with the healer. You can get all the way with a lot of situations where your healer has both the raising your magic or physical defense and their healing mainly. You can help them by having your DPS / utility character carry your regen. Now that regen tick is ticking, always healing, and then Matt can go ahead and go physical defense up or magic defense up, and they don't have to worry as much about their ATB to try to heal the party because now they have something helping. So don't look at regen as it's bad, but more priority is what I have on the wish list over there / grabbing. If you do choose to get these weapons, choose the corresponding. So Aerith with this, Barrett with his Micro Laser, or Matt with his Prime Number. That's your healing weapons. These are your defensive weapons. Very, very important to choose this as your wish listing for DPS. So 2 slots should be, let's just say you're starting off the game. It should be Matt, go Prime Number, and then Core Defender. If Centipede's out, grab Centipede as well. So once you get one copy, take it off the wish list and be like, okay, now I'm working on Zac and I want more DPS. So boom, let me switch it for DPS. Once you get one copy of the healing weapon and the defensive weapon, it doesn't have to be on your wish list anymore. Now, this is something else you want to consider besides the survivability and healing. You want to be able to lower the enemy's attack in a lot of situations, be it magic or physical. Every weapon is either magic attack down or physical attack down. And when an enemy attacks, above their head, there's a name of their attack and it shows a little wand or sword. If it's a sword, it's physical. If it's a wand, it's a magical attack. And then you come in here and you go like, oh, it's a wand. I need to reduce magic attack against me. Something like Solid Bazooka. Reduces M for magic attack is decreased by mid to high, or if you OB6 it, high to high. So these are options you guys can do, but while you're pulling for your main DPS and you got your healing weapon / defense weapon out of the way, not every enemy can be lowered their attack. You can always raise your defense, but you can't lower attack because the enemy's built-in kit says you can't. But if you want to, once you figure out what your DPS is or your sub DPS and your healer is, you now know, okay, I want to give that character the utility to not only increase my defense, but also lower the enemy's attack. And this is something you can also just get from tickets, your daily free draw accidentally, right? So wish listing is a good idea, but also try to do all your main pulls, your ticket pulls, and then if you don't get it, throw on the wish list because it does help. So with that being said, stuff like Barrett's bazooka here lowers magic attack. Tifa has 2. She does leather gloves, which is physical attack down, and she has the tiger fangs, which is magic attack down. You've got Red 13's junk collar, reduces magic attack. You've got Zack's twinkling star that reduces magic attack. There is so many options. It's up to what you guys have in your party, because to bring in another character that has no costume, you didn't work on their growth stream, you didn't pull for anything else for them, it's kind of hard, but there's tons of options. I'll go through a couple of them as we're going through this. Matt has a Slick Beetle, which lowers physical attack. You've even got Cloud with an AoE on the Iron Blade, but it's low to mid and only mid, even it's overboost, but it's all enemies for physical attack. You've got event weapons that do this. Mad Minute, which is one of those weapons that are good for just our abilities, but also magic attack is decreased up to hide OB6 or medium just from one cast. The list goes on and on and on. Sephiroth has one. Yuffie has one. Northern Lights, physical attack mid to high or high to one cast at OB6. Yuffie has, I believe, this one. Physical attack is increased low and only does mid to mid, right? You have tons of options. When you pull for those characters and you know you're going to use them, go through this list and look for those because they will complement raising your defense and lowering the enemy's attack and lets you survive a lot of the hard fights. So keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about building your DPS and what's the current banner. I'm going to show you my character first. This is the first ever banner that came out, which was Lightning Cloud Murasami weapon. This is very, very strong. You can see I have 4,406 attack, and that applies this to the 750% physical lightning damage, right? The way this works is that everything you're doing is to boost that attack as high as possible and boost the attributes. So this is lightning damage. So you want to stack lightning damage once you get 2 R abilities out of the way. First R ability is physical attack. It goes up to 55 points. Right? So 50% increase to my stats. So whatever I have increases by 50%. So if everything on here just gave me like 2,000 attack, with having boost attack 50% up, I'd be now at 3,000 attack. So if this said 2,000 without that R ability, it'd go to 3,000. That being said, your next priority is to get boost attack up to 55 points because that'll increase it by another 25%. It's not as big as a priority as physical attack. This is priority number 1. This can be juggled with lightning or attack stance. Attack stance command gauge max physical ability 30%. This can also be juggled with this, right? So it depends what you got and it depends on your weapons, but this is priority number 1 because that's the biggest increase to your DPS. Now you can see I have a balance of 62 physical, 55, and I have level 6 boost lightning. These are my back weapons. They have attack stance, they have boost attack with attack stance, and they have lightning potency here. I should be running lightning potency, but when you look at my lightning stuff, it's not as strong as running what I currently have on my setup. So if I were to put in, let's say here, the broadsword, it gives physical attack and it gives lightning boost, but my attack drops down to 3873. Not worth it, just increase my DPS from 70% to 85 lightning. I lose way too much attack. So sometimes you gotta mix in weapons like this, the automatic, the Shinra blade, right? Because they are gonna complement the rest of boosting my attack up while also applying attack stance to my setup. So it's not all just about grabbing exactly what it is. It's not clear cut like that. Here's an example that my lightning cloud is going to do a ton of damage no matter what because it's getting a boost of 70% lightning ability damage, but also if my attack gauge is max, that little red diamond battle, if that's at max, it'll give an extra 30% damage as well, while keeping my physical attack nice and high because physical attack uses whatever your ability is. So deals 750% physical, so 750% of my physical stat in lightning damage, right? So that stat has to be high in order for these weapons to do a lot of damage. Everything says 2,275% of physical / magical. So it takes your physical magical stat and it applies that. So that's how you calculate your damage. So you want to build your character in that sense. And it's also important to pull in banners and focus on that character specifically instead of just pulling for random weapons, because their costumes increase that lightning damage. In this case, this is an Arcanum costume for Cloud that increases lightning ability damage plus 35%. And that's why it's a good combination of raising your physical attack, but also raising your boost lightning potency. Because of the Arcanum costume, you do want to get this as high as possible, and this goes all the way to 100 points, which is a 120% increase to lightning. So you have 35 from the costume, 120 here, and then whatever your weapon's potency for your attack. That's how you combine all these R abilities together. So that being said, always pull for your DPS and weapons according to what banner you're pulling for. So let's build Cloud and Glenn according to these rules, so you can have that DPS that will work on an enemy that's weak to their element, and they can hit any enemy in the game with this element and still do a ton of damage, even though the enemy isn't weak to lightning, ice, wind. It doesn't matter. This will be your main DPS for a very long time. All right, so I'm going to move to the side so I can show you things a little bit better, but take this in consideration. Every character you build needs 5 weapons. All right, this is just for them, not your other 2 teammates on the team either. Main hand, offhand, and sub weapons. So you need 3 sub weapons, an offhand weapon, and a main hand weapon. Main hand weapon will take 100% of its stats, physical attack, magic, heal, its R ability, 40 points, 36, and give that to the character. The other 4 weapons, the 3 in the back and the 1 on the offhand, will only take 50%. So 514 divided by half. Boost attack 34 divided by half. So that's going to give you 17. That's going to give you 12 points. That's going to be 250, I don't know, 7. I could be wrong there, but yeah, 257. So with that being said, now you know your priority is hand number 1 when you're building your character. In this case, Cloud, let's do Cloud first. His weapon increases, let's just do a fully maxed out one. Boost attack all allies. This is a buff for everyone on the team, and if you have it at 46 points on the main hand, you're going to give everyone an increase of 25% to their stat. So if a character already has 4,000 attack on them, you increase it by 25%. You're giving them all the way to 5,000 attack. So that is a solid choice to have, and it also boosts ice potency to 39, getting you to level 5 of 55% damage out of 10 levels. So this on the main hand is very, very powerful, but now you've got to boost your attack and your physical attack in order to get his attack up to that 4,000 to get the bonus of 1,000, right? So you do want to have that as an option as main handing. And again, these are the options of weapons that you want to go for that work with any character. MATK is one of the best weapons in the game because it boosts his physical attack at 62 points and 39 for that attack stance. Killer Hornet, another good choice, goes to 46 physical attack and boosts your attack stance. Overall, you've got Enemy Launcher that does boost attack and attack stance. You've got Shinra Blade that does both attack and magic attack while doing that attack stance gauge, right? 46. These are all options. Heavy Hauser, 39, 46, right? You've got Air's Sun Umbrella. These are all options depending on what you're doing, magic or physical. But in this case, we are going to be doing clouds. So these are options for overall any character, but let's focus on the ice build. So here's a very strong, pure ice build for Cloud. Cloud is going to be in his main hand, rocking that new weapon, giving him a boost of 39. Plus he has his physical attack boost 46. This is, we're going to judge on max because this is what you should be aiming for, is always having max. If not, you're going to have an OB6 at 40 points, which you're either going to have 25% increase or 22% increase. So only 3% difference, but your ice potency is going to hurt because this one is at 27 compared to 39. So this weapon is limited. You have to pull in this banner as a new player or current player. Try to get OB10 or use weapon parts to get to this later on. Very important because it also gives that 900% physical ice damage potency, right? The weapon says ice, you've got to go build ice. So with that being said, here's what complements this ice build. Cloud can use 2 weapons that have ice, which he is one of the characters in the game that can hit max ice potency, where other characters, if they don't have their second weapon that's also ice, they can't hit that max. And that's fine. I'll show you another alternate to this. But main hand, new weapon, offhand on Cloud, enhanced sword, boosting his attack by 46 and giving him 39. Everything gives 39 ice potency on this build, so I'm not going to keep pushing it upwards. Then we've got Air's wand over here, the silver staff, sorry, that gives 46. So 46 and 46, right? Combined, divided by half is 46. So you're getting 46 boost attack out of this build, which is the second highest R ability. You're going to max out your physical by running Bald Eagle. Fully maxed out is 62 points. That is 31. And then you grab either Yuffie's Spiral Shuriken or Tifa's Holy Flame Gloves. And you max out one of these for 46, but it's on the sub-weapon, so that's actually 23. So 23 and Bald Eagles, 62, that's 31. That's 54 points, which means you're 1 point short, but you're not, because you're wearing the Arcanum costume that increases ice potency by 35% and gives you that 5 points that you're missing. So this build will give you maxed out physical attack, max on ice potency, because that 39 plus 39 plus 39 divided plus your main hand's 39 is going to give you 117 points, which gives you 120% ice. So you're going to have 120% ice, 55 points for the 50, and your boost attack's going to be at 45, which is totally fine, is at 20% instead of 25%. You're only losing 5% there, and because the new weapon has that new physical attack for all allies, it makes up for that. Be it the 22 or the 25. You're getting way more value than trying to sneak in that extra 10 points for boost attack. But there is actually a stronger version of this. If you want and you lose ice potency, right? Instead of having 120%, you take away Air of Silver Staff because it is more favored towards magic stat. So you can see 477 physical, magic attack is 655. So you take away the Silver Staff, right? Or you leave the wish list the way it is and you put in Glenn's weapon instead. So now Glenn's weapon is going to boost up to 31, right? Plus that enhanced sword, that 23, 54, you're 1 point away, so it's still 45, but Glenn's weapon is favored in physical. Physical attack, 660, compared to Aerith's 477. And you might be saying, well, now I lowered my ice potency. Why do that? Glenn's automatic increases 39 points to boost attack. So when you're in attack stance fully, 39 points equals an increase of physical ability damage plus 60%. So it's actually better to run this automatic in the setup, and it's also used for anything else, including Glenn himself. So that is how I would wish list. I would wish list exactly like this. Between Yuffie's 660 physical attack or Tifa's gloves that have 667, Tifa's is better, and also Tifa does have a lot of other setups, so it depends who you want to work on, Tifa or Yuffie for a side character. That's another way to look at your R abilities and sub weapons. But this is like for a very, very powerful Cloud, and these ice weapons, even though you pull Silver Staff and you replace it with automatic, can be used on a magic user because this both boosts magic and physical. So these are never a waste, these two weapons, where these are stuck on physical characters because they boost only physical attack. Now keep in mind that's a full glass cannon build, meaning that it's not going to have a lot of HP on that setup. So if you need survivability while also increasing ice potency, you do have the pinwheel here that will go to 46 while still giving you that 39 boost ice, right? Because you do need survivability in a lot of the harder fights. Or you can go ahead and grab any other weapon that has boost along with an attack stance, right? So a good choice here is Mad Minute. Mad Minute will give you HP while also increasing your boost attack stance, which is what we're talking about, that 60% increase at 35 points. Twinkling Star is another one, 46, 39. So those are survivabilities you guys can mix. But this is the only ice one pinwheel that has HP and ice. Now for Glenn, since Glenn is a a water DPS, you can see Water Blade Arcanum increase water ability damage 35%, and he has his weapon which increases its potency is 900% physical water. We want to build him as a water DPS, right? You do have that +5 physical attack from his costume. So when you do this wish list, you are going to be using Ultimatic in this build. And that's because there isn't a lot of water weapons that have a physical or boost attack with water like there is on the ice build. So in order to get max physical, Black Whiskers fully maxed out, 62 points in boost attack, and then Maritime from Cloud will give you 46, which is that 50 plus the costume is at 55. Then you got Glenn's weapon, not on the main hand. You're going to use his new weapon in the main hand because you're better off giving everyone else that boost attack, including him, instead of just him by himself for 62 points, right? So this is going to give you 31 points. Red 13's Noble Collar is going to give you the other 46, which is 23, putting you at that 54, missing 1 point, but this also gives water potency. And then you can use this for survivability, personal style, right? Personal style has HP and water, so you're going to be running Glenn's newest weapon in the main hand, Ultimatic in the second hand, Cloud in the back, Black Whiskers, and then Noble Collar. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5. If you want survivability, you throw a crew kicker there instead of like Noble Collar. So again, for maximum damage, you do 1, 2, 3, 4 is your priority. If you want to do pure water with survivability, then you don't run the Ultimatic. You run Glenn, Noble Collar, Black Whiskers, and Maritime for the survivability while keeping that water potency there. So the options are yours. You could do other things like I talked about, bringing in the mad minutes for the survivability plus attack stance instead of the water potency. Little bit of difference there. But in this case, we're not hitting that max water unless we're doing this route. If we're doing this route, we're hitting max damage, but no survivability. So you got to mix and match, but those are your options along with all those utility ones like I showed you, Heavy Hauser, Shinra Blades, so on and so on. Now, when it comes to any other attribute in the game, it's the same idea. You want to go in there and you want to look for the best fire. So if you're doing fire, right? Sephiroth Blade over here, Radiant Edge has 62 physical with 39 fire potency. And you want to build up those R abilities. I want to make this video a little bit shorter. I know it says wish list and all that. I'm not going to give you every single option because after this, it's picking your physical attack down, your magic attack down, your physical defense down, your magic defense down. But you're going to get random weapons as you pull. You're going to get random weapons through your tickets. So when it comes to wish listing as a new player, this is your priority. You want to make that DPS as strong as possible. So when you click on details on this Chocobo card, whatever character you're going for, pick them. Either you pick Cloud or you pick Glenn. So if you're pulling this banner and you want to do Glenn, switch to Glenn. And now it's going to be Glenn when you hit your 12 stamp. And to go along with that, put his weapon there as well. And on multiple pages, make sure you pick that character to overboost them. In this banner, you do want to get at least one copy of the other one, but guarantee yourself an OB6 plus as you're pulling for this. So you want to go as deep as possible until you max this out, until the banner's gone if you hit OB10. You could save a little bit, go to OB7, stop there, and then you use weapon parts for the last 3. But try to grab as much as you can in this banner itself. After that, every wish list is the same idea. Just go for those fire weapons that get you to 55 physical and gives you boost attack or survivability while complementing the element of the Arcanum. Always aim for the Arcanum costumes for the maximum damage because it increases by 35%. Once you max out those R abilities, that's the only other way to increase your damage, and 35% is very big compared to like a 15% boost or 20% boost from random costumes that does non-elemental or just a smaller amount like Red 13 had. So that is your wish listing priorities when it comes to a new player to grab healing, defensive, and then make your DPS as strong as possible. Then you're going to get side characters with that defense down, magic attack down, so on and so on. Now that's pretty much it for this video. It's not straight as like I say it. There is more things to this. There is more utility. You have to build multiple characters. You can't just do that. But if you're a new player, or if you're an old player just trying to focus on a new character, that's how you should wishlist on that character if you already have all the utility stuff, because you got through tickets, free draws, and all that, right? There is a lot of things to look at, but this was just a general idea to kind of help new players come in and they understand the R ability system while applying it to your wishlist system. And hopefully this helps you guys out. Any other questions? Discord link down below, comment section, I do reply. So hopefully this does give you guys that rough idea and you guys have a good start into the game. Besides that, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling and I'll smell you later.